what comes out of this is, it seems to me, something else that is right inside that sort of impulse towards the real, towards the sacred, is not just the realization of it, not just the revelation of it. That doesn't ultimately completely satisfy that impulse. It's nice for a moment. It's nice for a while. You sit back and, bask in the clarity, the open-heartedness, the rest of it. But there's also an impulse within it for expression. Make sense? Expression. To realize it is one thing. To be able to express it, and I don't mean go around spouting the truth, trying to talk about the untalkable like I'm doing. This is about the dumbest thing anybody could ever do, right? It's a ludicrous occupation. So when I say expression, I'm not talking about going around talking about spiritual things, because this is not a particularly great expression of truth or reality. But there is something that begins to express itself, right? Through your humanness. There is something that begins to express itself when it's no longer being confined and compressed and held down by the mind's ideas, by the world of delusion. Have you ever felt like there's sort of something in you that wants to come out? I think it's a very human thing, and we try many things to find, how can I get what's in me to come out? And so some people spend their lives trying to get it to come out. They write poetry, or they sing songs, or they, twirl Sufi dances, or whatever they do, various ways to kind of get this thing to come out. What they're really feeling is that drive towards undivided consciousness expressing itself. We got divided consciousness expressing itself down. We know how to do that, right? We know how to. It's easy. I'm different from you. I hate you. Perfect expression of divided consciousness. Perfect. Easy, off the cuff. Whatever. I'm better than you are. All that kind of stuff. My country first, Divided consciousness, easy. Anybody in this room, you could just express divided consciousness. You wouldn't even have to think about it, would you? Because you grew up in a culture that taught us all how to do that. So it's just second nature. Undivided consciousness. How does one express that? It's there. But see, for most people, it's not quite as instinctual. It's not quite as quick. It's not as off the cuff. But that's also in the spiritual impulse, is to express this undivided consciousness, because existence is undivided, right? Life itself is undivided. Very unique, very diverse, but ultimately undivided. And we worship. We have great respect. It touches something within our human nature very deeply whenever we've seen this undivided consciousness move. We love that. We put them on our altars, right? That's why Jesus is on altars, and Buddha is on altars, and I don't know, Krishna's on altars or whatever. We love that stuff. Wow, somebody broke out of the mold. Somebody stepped into the aloneness. Somebody stepped totally outside of the mind of delusion, not only their own, but the collective sort of dream state of humanity. Somebody somehow pulled it off. And they brought something new and fresh and not repeatable. right? And what do we do with them? I want to be just like you. I'll put you on my altar, and I want to be just like you, which is an absolute denial of everything their life was about. There was a undivided, totally fresh, totally unrepeatable, unique expression of undivided consciousness, and then everybody goes around trying to be like that. Ridiculous, isn't it? But we love that. It touches something. It's like an archetype that touches something very deep in human beings when they see that, when they sense that. Something very deep inside them sort of responds and has a feeling like something in me would love to be that free. And of course, egos try it all the time. So this isn't necessarily talking about the ego just doing its own thing. That was tried in the 60s, man. It just didn't work out. You know? I mean, there was something good trying to happen there, but it ultimately, imploded because it didn't quite go far enough. It was in the right direction, but it didn't quite get there. So it's important that is in that impulse too. So I'm only talking about this so you really start to feel this in yourself. You start to connect with it. Not so you'll start to turn it into an idea that you move towards, but you start to connect with it being present here and now.